Good morning to everyone and welcome to another update on the market. For today, I decided to cover British pound versus US dollar. We'll speak about the gold market, crude oil, and Bitcoin versus US dollar. I will start with the British pound versus US dollar first. So what we have here is the hourly time frame, and we can see that last week had quite a important rejection of 1.2440, where basically the buyer tried to go back into this range environment, and then the sellers kicked in, and we had this support that became resistance. And after that, market broke to the downside. And here we have a new intraday resistance at 1.2405 level. And so far we have a test reject on the hourly time frame. So from my perspective, there is still a chance for the lower price, and the primary scenario for the pound dollar will be the market to go towards the 1.2300 area. But speaking of some alternative scenario, we might see a potential alternative scenario like only if the market will go aggressively back into the 1.2455 area and then hold above in order to attack 1.2505 area. But that's an alternative scenario. I would like to see this initiation from the buyers. So far, based on the current condition, based on the momentum and the area where we are trading, the primary scenario is the downside towards the 1.2300 area. Now, speaking of the gold market is basically tested and rejected resistance at 1930. And from this perspective, there is a chance for the lower prices, and potentially if market can clear this trend line and let's say go and trade aggressively to the downside, any weaker rally to the upside may result further downside movement towards the 1915 or even 1900 mark. So that's the scenario at this point around this resistance. In case of the upside movement, I would like to see the market to speed up to the upside and then start to build some consolidation and contraction, and then there is a chance for the test of 1945 or even 1950. But at this point, we see that there is some divergence in momentum, and we can see that the rising trend line is on the test. So we will see how the situation will be here, but based on the resistance test reject, and we basically started to decrease the momentum on the way up. You can see the trend line did catch the price. I will say the primary scenario is to the downside, and alternative scenario in this case will be to the upside. Crude oil, we can see that market did test and reject. At this point here, we can see quite a big test reject. Market is still, we spoke about this ascending triangle, and market did reach the objective that we spoke about. But now at this point, market started to build higher lows, and we will need to go to the higher time frames to see what is the next potential objectives, short-term speaking. And we can see here that we have the levels around 94 mark that are waiting there on the daily time frame. So as long we are holding this rising trend line, and most recently we had this test reject of the trend line, there is a chance for the higher prices and potentially for the higher prices towards the 94 mark. So that's the primary scenario in this situation. The alternative scenario will be if the market can, let's say, trade lower and then has some kind of the weak rally, so there is a chance to retest this rising trend line again and maybe 89-90 area. That's an alternative scenario in this situation. And speaking of the Bitcoin versus US dollar, again, market is right at the resistance, so we will see how the market will react throughout this point. But so far, it's just testing and basically building this mini consolidation here. So the key resistance is set around 26,800. And, depend on the breakout. If you can see the upside breakout and hold, breakout to 27 mark and hold above, then there is a chance for 27,600 or even 28,000 mark to be on the test. And from other side, if market can break downside, maybe 26,300, hold below, there is a chance for the rotation down towards the 25,800 or even 25,300 mark. That will be all for this update, guys. I hope that you did enjoy. Have a good day, trade safe, and speak to you from tomorrow morning.